Okay, so here is the assignment I gave to us, and let's do the collection together. After the collection, I'll give us another task that we require the knowledge you will gain from this. So let's do this. The task is to have these two. Number one, you want to be able to enter the names, the number of contestants. Number two, you want to be able to enter the names of contestants. That means the contestant will not be Taye, Kenny, and Idowu, but it's going to be whatever number or whatever name or names the you enter here. So let's start. Um, I'm good friend. I can just say, in fact, what maybe what I'm thinking is let's start afresh. The thing is this: at the end of the day, we may have to make a lot of changes to this place. We may have to. We may have to. So let's start maybe on a new page entirely. I will call this voters.py. So first, we want to welcome the user to our application. So let's do this. Just copy this and paste there. Next, we want to enter the number of contestants. We can say contestants number equals to input enter the number of contestants. Next, we want to enter the names of contestants. And for instance, if we have five, if we entered five here, then the name that we should be able to enter here should also be five, right? Are we together?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So let's assume we entered five here as the number of contestants, then the names should also be five. Let's assume this is seven, then the names we should enter should also be seven. This is what we are going to do. We will say for x for x in range. So I will change this to integer so that I'll be able to use it here in range contestants number. So we are going to say input enter contestant name. So if we are, let's assume this is 5, then this loop is going to run 5 times. Do we understand? So it's going to ask us to enter names 5 times. So I can say contestants underscore name equals to this. So we can say print contestants name plus added successfully. So let's see what happens. We are going to run this and see what happens. So again, when we open the application, it's going to say welcome to our app. Then it will ask us to enter the number of contestants. Then here it's going to ask us to enter contestant name and save it as variable contestant name, then print it contestant name added. Then it's going to come back again till we get to the end of this loop. Any question to this point? Are we still getting it, or are we lost at any point?
No. I'm
Okay.
good.
So let's run this and see what happens. Enter the number of contestants. Let's say 4. Enter contestant name Taye. Enter contestant name Kenny. Enter contestant name Idowu. And enter contestant Alaba. So 4. Of course, this is not clear enough. Let's just make this a bit neater. by saying this. Then, okay. Now, what we want to do is this. When we enter the contestant's name here, we want to save it. Remember, let's assume we entered 4 here. We are going to have 4 variable contestants' name, meaning that the new one will override the previous one. What I mean is this. Let's go back to this thing. The value of contestant name was first Taye, then later it was Kenny, then later it was Idowu, later it was Alaba. So meaning that the value of contestant name will just be the last one, which is not cool. What we want to do is this. We want to save all the names added, all the names that we've added so far. We want to save them. So what we are going to do is we can have a variable called all contestants. And this will be an empty list. All contestants. So this will be an empty list. So what we're going to do is here, after inputting this name, I will now find a way of pushing or adding the name into this list. So we can say all contestants dot append contestants name. So this is going to, let's assume I enter Taye, it's going to put Taye inside this place. If I enter Kenny again, it's going to put Kenny here. If I enter Idowu, it will put Idowu here. If I enter Alaba, it will put Alaba here. Any questions so far?
Please, what's the function dot append? What's the function? What's the work of append?
Append is going to add it into this list. Append will add it into this list. So let's run it and enter the number of contestants. So let's say, oh, I made a little mistake. So what I'm going to do now is, the mistake I made is this. At the end of everything, let's just say print all contestants, so that we see how it looks like. When we are done with this, then we want to see all contestants and see how it looks like. So enter for Taye, Kenny, Idowu, Alaba. So this is how all contestants look like. Is a list that has these 4 items. Let's go over it again. When you get to the application, it's going to say welcome to our app. Here we want to ensure something, that's because the task is that if we enter 5 here, then we want it to tell us to enter 5 names also. So that's why we have this. This is going to tell us to enter the number of contestants. Then we have this loop. In this loop, we are getting the contestant's name 5 times. Then after getting each name, we are appending it or adding it as part of this list. Then get another name, add it, get another name, add till we get to the end of this loop. Any question? At the end of everything, we are printing all contestants. Questions so far? Okay, let's proceed. Next thing is this. At the beginning, we want each contestant to have 0 votes. Then when you now vote for that contestant, the number of votes of that contestant will increase by 1. Again, at the beginning, we want each contestant to have 0 votes. But when you vote for that contestant, the number of votes of that particular contestant will increase by 1. That's the next thing we want to do. So what we are going to do is this. We are going to say, instead of this being, this is just a list, but we change it a bit. We change it to a list of dictionaries. Something like this. I think I discussed that with us in one of our classes. A list that looks like this. Yes, this. We want to change it to a list that looks like this. So the reason we are changing it to that is this. With this current method, I can add Taye, but how then do I know the number of votes that belongs to Taye? I can add Kenny, but how do I know the number of votes that belong to Kenny? Same with Ido, same with Alaba. So that's why we are adjusting it to something that will be able to cater for that easily, that will make our work so easy to do. So what you're going to do is this. Remember when we talk about dictionary, I told us that a dictionary saves information about a particular item. That is, everything here is about one item. Everything here is about another item. So what you are going to do now is we change this from a list to a list of dictionary. So instead of just saying contestant.append contestant name, we are going to say contestant equals to, this is a dictionary. At the beginning is an empty dictionary. So we are now going to say contestant name equal to contestant name. Let's comment out this part so that I can explain this very well. This is an empty dictionary, so we can even, let's just make this a bit better so that it's going to be easier to explain. I think this is better now. Enter contestant's name. You are saving it as variable contestant's name. This is an empty dictionary, so we are saying contestant's name equals to whatever the value of this is. So what you are just saying is you are coming here to do something like this. Name equals to whatever the value of this contestant's name is. And again, you can still make your work easier by removing this line and just say contestant's name like this. It's fine. So you are getting this contestant's name, saving it as this, and you are now saying contestant equals to name. You are giving it a key, and this is the value of that key. So we can take it a step further by saying contestant again. We can give it another key, just like we have key name here as contestant. We can give it another key by saying votes and set it to 0. So this can be put. We can put this here like this by saying votes to 0. They mean the same thing, so I can easily remove this. Any question? So at the beginning now, the number of votes for each contestant will start at 0. If it looks confusing, let's just do something. Let's just say print contestant. Let's do this so that you understand it very well. Again, let's say 3 now. Taye. So name is Taye, vote is 0. So Kenny, name is Kenny, vote is 0. Name is Idowu, vote is 0. So what you are doing here is this. Welcome to our app. Get the total number of contestants. That's in order to use it here. We are not using this for now. This list for now. What you are just saying is this. Enter contestant name, save it as this. Then we have a dictionary. This is a dictionary because of this curly braces. We are saying that this dictionary should have a key called name, and the value of that name should be whatever the user entered here, and the vote should be 0. So we are printing it out. Do we have any question? If you are confused, say I'm confused. If you are getting it, say I'm getting it.
In fact, though with your explanation, I'm getting it with your explanation, but I'm just imagining how we are going to be able to solve this ourselves if you are not doing it for us.
Yes, like I said at the beginning of this class, remember I said that you have all the knowledge needed, but not the experience. That's why I said instead of insisting that we need to do it before we proceed, that's why I'm doing it for us. I realized because of the week, I was thinking about it and I was like, oh, most likely we have a lot of issues around this part, how to think around this. But if you, after solving this for us, you'll be able to now start thinking in this direction. You'll be able to start thinking in this direction. So, like I said, you have all the knowledge. The only thing that we don't have yet is maybe the experience. And as time goes on, the more we solve questions like this or tasks like this, the more you now start thinking in that direction. And that's why I'm doing the correction. So, let's proceed. How we remove this? And of course, we don't need this again. So what thing we want to do is this. Let's bring back our empty list. Remember, this is what we want to create. We want to create something like this. So we are now going to say all contestants, which is this, dot append. What do we want to append? We want to append contestants. So you are pushing this dictionary into this big list. So this dictionary will enter this. If you add another contestant, this append will help you to push it inside this place. If you add another one, it will add it again till we are done. So we can say print all contestants so that we look at how we see how all contestants looks like. Let's just add this line so that we can see the name added. So we'll run it again. So let's set it again. Say Taye, Kenny, and Dole. So this is how it looks like now. This is a dictionary. Let me make it big. I want to zoom it. I'm trying to zoom this. Okay, it's not working. But then I'll be able to see the screen.
We can see it.
Okay. So this is a list. Inside this list, we have 3 dictionaries. So and each of the dictionary has name and votes. Name, vote, name, vote. So if I vote for Taye, I will just increase the number of Taye's votes. If I vote for Kenny, I will increase the number of Kenny's vote. And if I vote for Idowu, I will increase the number of Idowu's votes. Let's go to the next thing. The next thing on our task is, I think we've done this. We've been able to do this. Next is, we want to display something like this. Input 1 Taye, 2 Kenny, 3 Idowu, and like that. Let's see how we can go about it. What we are going to do is this. I will give this an ID. What is an ID? Most of those things you'll be doing will require an ID. An ID is something unique. Why is this important? Look at this scenario. Enter number of contestants. Let's say 3. So enter name, contestant name, Taye. Enter contestant name, Kenny. Look at something. Enter contestant. Let's say another contestant is also Taye. So look at this. We have 2 contestants. Two of them. We have 3 contestants. 2 of them are Taye. They bear the same name. How then do I differentiate the vote of this Taye from the vote of this Taye? Are we getting it? If I vote for Taye, how do I differentiate the vote of this from the vote of this? Or coincidentally, imagine the 2 of them bearing the same name. Hope it's not going to be confusing. That's where ID comes in. You can just add an ID and say the ID. You can just add it anywhere since it's a dictionary. So the first one, you can give it an ID of 1. The second one, we have an ID of 2. The third one, we have an ID of 3. So let's first start with this. Let's say the ID of this is X. Remember, this is X. The X here. range this, let's assume I entered 4 here. This becomes 0, 1, 2, 3. So x will first be 0 for the first person. For the second person, x becomes 1. For the third person, x becomes 2. For the fourth person, x becomes 3. So, but I want my ID to start from 1. I will just say x plus 1. So, I think with that, we need to move forward. So let's see. I have 3.
I can't see your screen. It's showing.
You can't see my screen. Oh, sorry. Let me share. Let me stop presenting and share again.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you see my screen now?
No.
Please, others, can we see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, maybe the issue is from my own end. Okay, let's move on. Next is this. We want to add an ID so that we're able to differentiate these contestants. Imagine imagine the three of them bearing the same names. It may be confusing. So the IDs, we usually call it identifier. It's not compulsory, but it makes your work much easier. Identifier. An ID is just something that is unique to each dictionary in your list. It's just something unique to a particular item. Good. It's just something unique to a particular item, meaning that two of these should not have the same ID. Two items should not have the same ID. It's usually a means to differentiate or identify something among the rest. So that's why I'm adding an ID to make it much easier to get this work done. So I'll just add an ID and say x plus 1. If x is 0, x plus 1 becomes 1. So I want my ID to start from 1. So this is 1. If x is 2, x plus 1 becomes 3. So let's add it again and see the results. So terminate this. No. Okay. 3. Taye. Kenny. Taye. So the ID of this is 1. The ID of this is 2. And the ID of this is 3. Even though this is Taye and this is Taye, if I want to vote for this, I can use this ID to know that the vote is for this Taye and not for this Taye. Do you understand? The ID helps us to identify them or to differentiate them from each other. And if they are more than 2, to differentiate them from one another, even if they are up to 1 million. Since 2 of them will not have the same ID, then we can use this ID to easily differentiate them. This is just for us to be able to differentiate them in case they have similar things inside them. So let's proceed. Any question? So the next task is we want to do this part. So we can say voter's choice. Okay. Of course, we first want to enter the total number of voters. Let's do that. Enter voters. Let me just copy this and paste it. Copy. Paste. So enter the total number of voters. And this is this. Next is this. We want to do this part. For x in this, just copy this and paste it here. So for x in range, voters number. Next is we want to do this voters choice. Good. This part will require some things. Voters choice. One Taye. Now we are not going to say 1 Taye, 2 Kenny, 3 though, because we don't know the total number of contestants. We can't. Yeah, we only have 3 contestants in this case. But if they are not, if there are other names, then how then do we go about it? Okay, what thing we can do is this. we can come here and create an empty string. We can just call it, you can say, let's just say display name, something like that. And it's going to be an empty string. You understand why I'm doing this? Very soon. So just bear with me for now. So while adding this here, we'll just say display name equals to, you can use our plus equal to, plus equal to is the same thing as saying equals to display name plus something. Good. Display name equals to display name plus contestant index id plus contestant. Okay, we can just add that plus contestant index of, just don't worry, you understand why I'm doing this now. Then you can add extra spaces also at the end of everything. Okay, display name, so I can just shorten this to plus equal to, so as to make it a bit shorter. Okay, id name, get this. Good. For now, I'll do something. I'll just say display name. I'll print display name out so that you see. I'll call it display names. Yeah, this will be, since it's not just one name. Let's print this out so that you understand how it looks like before I go into the explanation. Print display names. So let's run it together. Enter number of contestants 3. Oh, let's run it again. Enter number of contestants 3. Enter contestant name Taye. We have an error. What's going on? Why this bug? Unsupported. Oh, sorry. The reason we have this bug is this is expecting strl. Since this is a number, so let's run it again. Taye, Kenny, let's say James. So can you see 1 Taye, 2 Kenny, 3 James? Why is it like this? Why is this like this? Let's go into the explanation and see how it works. When you get to the app, it will tell you welcome to our app. If you ask for the number of contestants, you are saving it as contestant number. You have an empty list, which is empty at the beginning, and you have display names, which is empty string, like it's a string, but there's nothing inside it at the beginning also. Now you have this loop. Inside this loop, it's going to tell you to enter contestant name. Let's assume I enter Taye. The value of variable contestant name becomes Taye. Now you have another variable called contestant. This contestant is a dictionary. It has a key name, and the value of that key is whatever the user entered here. So let's assume the user entered Taye here. The value of name becomes Taye, and the value of vote becomes 0, and the ID becomes x plus 1. X before starts with 0. It's going to start from 0. So 0 plus 1, the value of x is now 1. Do you understand it to that point? Hello everybody. Hello everybody. Are we lost?
They are not lost.
Okay. Let's continue. So that is how variable contestant looks like. Now this is an empty list. So we are saying that this empty list dot append contestant, meaning that we are pushing this dictionary into this list. So just like saying, come here, copy whatever is inside this place and place it within this list. That's what you are doing now. So that's the work of this append here. The next is contestant name plus added successfully. Remember, let's assume I entered Taye. The value of contestant name becomes Taye. So this is going to print Taye added successfully. So next is this. Let's now come to this place and see why we have this. This is display names, and right from the beginning is an empty string. So what we are now doing is this. Take whatever you meet here. Remember, this is empty string at the initial part. So what you are saying is pick that empty string. Remember I said this is the same thing as saying display name. Display names plus this. So please pick that empty string, then concatenate it with all of this. So it's going to say str contestant id. Remember, for the first person, the id will be 0 plus 1, which is 1. So it's going to say 1, then concatenate it with dots, so that we're going to have something like this. 1 dots. Do we understand? So that we have 1 dots. Next, can you notice this space? The space after this dot, it is this space. It is this space like this. The next, I want it to be taille, so I want it to be taille. Next is whatever the value of contestant name is. Of course, I can use this variable directly also. I will have the same results. I can just put this here directly. I will still have the same results. Any questions so far? So let's assume I enter taille as the first one. This is going to become 1, which is the id, then the full stop and the space, then concatenate it with the taille. Now the essence of this extra space is in case you want to enter another name, so that this space will be there. Remember, this is a loop. Everything here is happening inside a loop, meaning that it's going to repeat all of this again. X becomes 1. So let's assume I entered Kenny now. The first time I entered taille, the second time now I entered Kenny. Don't forget that the value of display names is now 1 dot taille like this. This is now the value of display name, because I've said that empty string, I'm to concatenate all of this and set it back as the value of display names. So this is now the value of display name. Of course, it's going to be a string. It's going to be like this now. So this is after the first one. This becomes the value of display names. So x now will now become 1 instead of 0. The first time it will be 0, but the second time x becomes 1. So let's assume I entered Kenny now. So I have this dictionary again. The name now will be Kenny. Vote will be 0. ID will now be 1 plus 1. So ID will become 2. Again, let me to add it into this list. So it's going to push it again as the second item in this list. So it's going to print contestant name, which is Kenny, added successfully. Then when it's done, we're now going to say contestant name, display names equals to the initial value of display names, and this is the initial value of display names. Let me to concatenate this with it. Concatenate this with it. So contestant ID here now is now 2, because 1 plus 1 is 2. So contestant ID now will be 2. Something like this. Concatenate it to this. So contestant ID is now 2. Help me to add this dot, and that is this dot that we have here. Then plus contestant name, which is Kenny that you entered here. So it's going to put Kenny. And when you are done, set it back. So it's going to set it back. So this will now become the new value of display names. Of course, you have the extra spaces. The end of the extra space here now is in case you want to enter another one, so that it's not going to just put them together. Then let's assume I entered 3 here, like here. So it's going to run this again for the last time. Enter contestant name. Let's now say I entered James this time around. So name is James, vote 0. ID will now be 2 plus 1. 2 plus 1 is 3. So the value of ID will be 3. Next is it will now append it, meaning that it's going to push all this dictionary into this list. It's going to push it into this list. So it's going to print contestant name, which is James, added successfully. Then it will now say the value of display names equals to the initial value of display name, which is this. Then concatenate all of this with it. So ID now is 3 dot contestant name, which is James. Then help me to add empty space, that is this empty space. When you are done, set it back as a new value of display names. So this is now the value of display names now. So we've come to the end of the loop. Then when you print display names, it's now going to be whatever you saved here. Do you understand? Do you understand? Hey, Koyewa, you are not talking. Oh, what's going on? Hello, everybody. Can you hear me?
Oh,
Oh, sorry, I lost my connection. Like, I had already talked, thinking I was teaching us, not knowing that I lost my connection at that point before realizing it. Oh, sorry. Sorry. Let me go back again. Let me share my screen. So I don't know what's wrong with my network tonight. Well, I just go to finish this section. Can we see my screen? Hello, everybody. Oh, have I lost it again? Can we see my screen? Can we hear me?
yeah,
I don't know.
yeah.
Okay, thank you. So let's take it again. Well, I was talking about these display names and why it's like this, why this line. That's where we are now. I believe we understand everything from this point to this point. Maybe the only part we have issue with is this line. Or if you have anything up here that you don't understand, please let me know now. Is there any part of it that you don't understand except this line 10? So let's take these parts and let's explain why it's like this. When we get to the application, it's going to say, welcome to our app. After that, it tells us to enter the number of contestants. Imagine I entered 3 here. Then you have a list, which is an empty list. All contestants. This is an empty list at the beginning. Then you have this string. There's nothing inside this string called display names. Next, you have a loop. We know that this loop is going to run 3 times. That's because I entered 3 here, and this is for x in range contestants number. So since I have 3 here, then this will also run 3 times. So let's assume I put 4 here. I entered 4 here. This will run 4 times. And we know that x will first be 0. I've been now, based on what we've done so far. X will first be 0. So we have a variable called contestant name. And the value will be whatever the user enters as the contestant name. So let's assume the user entered Peter as the contestant name. So that becomes the value of the variable contestant name. Then you have a dictionary here. This dictionary has 3 keys. The first key is name, and the value of that key is this variable contestant name. So let's assume the person entered Peter here. The value of name becomes Peter. In fact, it means that this dictionary will look like this. It means the dictionary will look like this. Name is Peter. Then votes is 0. Then ID x plus 1. Remember, your x started as 0. 0 plus 1 becomes 1. So this becomes the value of contestant. Next thing is this. We have all contestants dot append contestants. Remember, all contestants is an empty list. So you append this. What you are just saying is you are saying that take this and go and put it inside this place. So this comes here like this. The next, print contestant name, which is Peter, added successfully. So it's going to print Peter added successfully. Then next, we have this line. This is display names equals to the initial value of display names, which is empty string. What this means is you are saying display names equals to the initial value of display names, which is empty string, plus what is contestant ID? Contestant ID here is 1. So you are saying plus 1. But the reason we are converting it to string so that we're able to concatenate this one with this empty string. So this becomes something like this. So that we can concatenate them together. Then plus these dots. Then this dot has a space. Then plus contestant name, which is Peter. Then plus this space, which is the space here. So this line becomes this. And of course, if you are concatenating things together, you are merging them together. So at the end of the day, this line becomes like this. 1 Peter space, everything in quotes. So this line now is actually this. So this now becomes the new value of display names. Let me remove this one. So we are saying display names equals to this. So display names will no longer be empty string after running this line 13, but instead display names becomes this. So we are done with the first round of the loop. Next, we go to the next round. X becomes 1. It changes from 0 to 1. So it's going to say enter contestant name. This time around, let's say I entered James. So the value of contestant name is now James. Variable contestant equals to name. So this line, contestant equals to name contestant name. So meaning that this becomes James. This will still be 0. But the ID becomes x plus 1. X is now 1. 1 plus 1, that is 2. So ID is now 2. Then you are saying all contestants dot append contestants. So you are appending this into this place. So if you just come here and push it into it. So next is going to print this out. Contestant name added successfully. That becomes James added successfully. Then let's now come to this line. You are saying contestant names equals to the initial value of contestant name, which is 1 Peter, plus this contestant ID. Contestant ID here is 2 with these dots. This is the dots here, plus contestant name. Contestant name is James. Then plus the space at the end, plus this space. So at the end of the day, this whole part becomes 2 James like this. No concatenation will weld them together. So when you concatenate these two parts together, both of them becomes this. at the end of the day. So this becomes a new value of display names. Then the value of x increases from 1 to 2. Enter contestant name. Let's say I entered John. So contestant name is John. Name, contestant name. So this value of name is now John. Vote is 0. ID is x plus 1. That is 2 plus 1. ID becomes 3. Append this. So just copy this and append it here to this. To the end of this here. So we've appended it successfully. The next, contestant name added successfully is going to say John added successfully. Then display names equals to the initial value of display names. This is the initial value of display names plus the contestant ID, which is 3. Then plus these dots, put this dot. Then plus contestant name, which is John. Then plus the extra space. So if you concatenate all of this together, it becomes 3 John, like this. So I can remove all of this. Sorry, I can remove all of this. So if I concatenate 3 John with what we have here, it becomes this 3 dot John. So this is now the value of display names. So let's shorten this part by just using a plus equal to. So this becomes this. Let's clean our codes up. Let's clean things up. Any question? So this becomes the value of display names. We can now do something. We can now say, let me see if I'm still with us so that it won't be like the last time. Okay. So next is we want to say voter's choice equals to this. So what you're going to do is we just say voter's choice. Okay, we want to on a loop, then inside this we will display this. So let's on our loop first. Okay. Input the total number of voters. You save it here. For x in the range, voters number. This the voters. Instead of now saying voters choice is this, instead you just say input. Then this input expects a string. Input expects a string, and since display name is already a string, we can just put display names here. Display names. So we can now run our if statement. If voter's choice if is equal to good. One thing we want to do is we want to check if, let's assume the user entered 1. What we want to do is it means that the user is voting for Taye. If the user entered 2, it means the user is voting for Kenny. If the user entered 3, it means the user is voting for James. Of course, we can have more. We can have 100 contestants, not just 3 of them. So we need to be careful a bit here. Let's think about how to go around this part. If voter's choice is equal to this. Okay. We have a cheat code here that will make our work look so easy, like very, very easy. Now, notice something. The difference between, I want us to look at something. I'll use this to explain this to us. Please, are we lost? So that we know if I'm wasting my time. Are we following or are we lost? Hello, everybody. Hello. Hello. Hi. Goodness, Titi.
Yeah, we are not lost. We are not lost. It's getting interesting.
Let's proceed. So let's notice something. What we want to do here will save us a lot of work. Like there's something about program, there is no particular way to something. Like we have a lot of so you can do it in another way, but what I want to show us will make our work look so easy, and that's why I want to implement it. So imagine something. If you notice our code very well, it looks like this. Abi, IB, one. Just copy, paste, post. Then let me just add. Let's assume we have 4 contestants this time around. This. Kenny, high B becomes 2. Then let's say this is James. And let's say this is Idris. At least for the sake of our own task, or the task that we are currently doing, what I want to show us now will work for it. Notice that this, if I say var index 0, what is var index 0? It is this, right? Abina. Are we getting it? Are we getting it?
Yes.
Okay. If I say var index 1, this is var index 1. If I say var index 2, this is var index 2. If I say var index 3, this is var index 3. This really matters because of what we want to do. So if I say var index 0 again, this is var index 0. This is var index 1. This is var index 2. And this is var index 3. My ID can start from 0, but I just intentionally want it to start from 1. Because most of the work you're going to be doing, if they are not created by you, most of the ID usually start from 1. Most. So I just want us to get used to it, but you can start it from 0. Now, if you notice something, the value here is just 1 lesser than the ID. Meaning if I say var index 3, what is going to fetch for me? The ID of that dictionary that will be fetched for me will be 1 more than this. var index 3 is, this is 0, this is 1, this is 2, and this is 3. Abi. The ID of the dictionary, if I say var index 2, the ID of the dictionary that will be fetched from me will just be 1 higher or more than this. So the ID of what will be fetched from me will be this one with 3, with ID of 3. Abi, are we following?
Please come again. Yeah, come again. It's confusing there.
Okay. Maybe to make it understand, let me change the ID to just 0. Let this be 0 so that you understand this very well. Let this be 1. Let this be 2. I think this will make our work look so easy instead of confusing us. This is be 3. So if I say with this now, I think this will be better. If I say var index 0, what will be fetched from will also be this. Cabin now. Will also be a dictionary with an ID of 0, right? It will be a dictionary with an ID of 0. If I say var index 1, it will be a dictionary with an ID of 1. Do we get it? So if I say var index, let's say 3, it's going to be a dictionary with an ID of 3. Do you understand this one? Do we get it? If I say var index 2, what is var index 2? This is the var index 2 now, right? Because this is index 0, this is index 1, and this is index 2. So if I say var index 2, this is var index 2. Meaning that what will be fetched for me will be a dictionary with an ID of 2. Do we understand that part? Am I just teaching myself? You are not answering me.
Yes, yes, we understand.
Kafaya Olamide Greatness State C. Do we understand? Only one person has been talking. So I want to assume that maybe many two of us don't understand.
I did not.
You said
I did not understand.
you don't know that where?
This last part you are explaining, the ID is 012.
Okay.
The var index 1 is 01.
Okay. Now the idea is 0. ID for this one is 0. So if I say print, if I come here now, maybe it's because I'm on the top here. If I come to this place and I say print var index 0, what will I see if I run this code? What will I see if I say print var index 0? What will I see? I'm asking.
Is the ID with 0?
It's going to be this dictionary
Yes.
with the ID of 0. Good. If I say var index 2, it's going to be this dictionary with an ID of 2. Do you understand that part?
Yes.
So we can say that the index here is also the same as the ID here, right?
Yes.
Good. Although ours is a bit different because our own ID is plus 1. So let's adjust it so that it's going to be exactly like this. So we know that the index here is the same as the ID here. Good.
Okay.
So next is this. Then we still have a little problem to fix here. What the user, we don't want the user to see 0, 1, 2. Of course, user should see 1, 2, 3. Users don't understand all of this. For you to understand the problem, this what I just did. For you to understand the problem is to give us. Wait a second. You will understand it now. Let's say print display names. So let's say we have 3. I have Peter, James, John. Now we don't have the U here. The ID can be 0. ID can be 1. ID, this is fine. But the user here, when the user wants to vote, if the user wants to vote for Peter, it should not be 0. Like, this is what we are displaying to the user. Remember, we want to use this here. We want to use these display names here. So it doesn't make much sense, maybe from my own view, it doesn't make much sense to tell your user that if you want to vote for Peter, type 0. Like, it should be 1. I don't know if you understand it. Maybe if you want to vote for the first person,
Yes.
maybe type, instead of saying type 0, you should be maybe type 1 instead. So we are not just going to make a little adjustment to that part. We say plus 1, so that this will just be 1. Good. So let's run it again and oh, this will constitute bug. Let me comment this part out. So let's run it again now. 3 Peter, James, John. So this is fine. ID can be 0, 1, 2. This is fine. But 1 for Peter, 2 for James, 3 for John. Pardon my typographical error. So 1 for Peter, 2 for James, 3 for John. This is cool. So if I want to vote for Peter, I should type 1. If I want to vote for James, I will type 2. If I want to vote for John, I will type 3. And that's fine. So what next we want to do is this. We will now say, let's assume the user typed, let's come back here. Let's assume the user typed 1. 1 means I'm voting for this person. Abi now, based on what I just explained. 1 is Peter. Abi. 1 means I'm voting for this person. 2 means I'm voting for this person. 3 means I'm voting for this person. So, how we know that there's a relationship between this number and the ID? The number here is just 1 different from the ID. Meaning, if I remove 1 from this, it becomes the ID. If I remove 1 from this, it becomes the ID. If I remove 1 from this, it becomes the ID. So we can now take advantage of that and say, if voter's choice, can say, about this thing, you understand this? Let me quickly finish typing this. So we can say, voter's choice, no, all contestants, index of voter's choice minus 1 plus 10, add votes to heap. You can say plus equals to 1. Good. You can now say, let's just say this as a variable. Okay. You can say you complaint. You understand what I'm doing now? Voted for you voted for no. Okay, this is fine. Yep. Yes, I'm coming. So you get come give me a second. Yes. Okay, good. So at the end of the day, we can say well, we've come to the end of the loop now. For x and all contestants times x minus name plus that's what we're doing. Okay, yeah. So I think we should solve all the problems. Let's see what is happening here. Is after the class, just watch this video again and again. If there's any part that you don't understand, reach out to me. But let's discuss what is happening here. So at this point, this is the voters number. Let's say we have 10 voters now. 10 voters. We know that 10 voters means it's going to run this loop 10 times. Next, we tell them to enter a choice, to pick a choice. Are you voting for Peter, or for James, or for John? Come back to this place. If it's for Peter, that is 1. If it's for James, you type 2. If it's for John, you type 3. So if I vote for Peter, what I want to do is this. I want to increase the number of Peter's votes by 1. Again, if I vote for Peter, I want to increase the number of Peter's votes by 1. If I vote for Peter, I want to increase the number of Peter's votes by 1. So what we are doing is this. We are saying that all contestants, voter's choice. Let's assume I typed 1 here. This line becomes all contestants What is voter's choice? That is whatever I type. Yeah, so let's assume I typed 1. 1 means I'm voting for Peter. That is voter's choice. Minus 1. 1 minus 1. That is 0, right? Abi now. Are we getting it?
Yes, 1 minus 1 is 0.
1 minus. So this is same thing
Zero.
as good. So let's assume I type 1 here. This is 1 minus voter's choice minus 1. That is 0. So what is voter's choice? All contestants index 0. All contestant index 0 is this one for Peter. Do we get what you're trying to do?
Yes.
Let's
Okay,
assume I type.
that's how we got number 1.
You said?
That's how we got number 1 for Peter.
Good. So we can now say, after picking the first one, that is that of Peter, now pick the votes there, add 1 to it and set it back so that the vote is going to increment by 1. Do you understand it?
Yes.
Good. So then if it's Kenny, let's assume he's the second person now. The second person here is James. That means I typed 2. That is 2 minus 1. 2 minus 1 is 1. That is all contestants index 1. And all contestant index 1 is this 1. Then pick the votes inside. Add 1 to it. So when you are done with everything, now of course we also want the user to know that, oh, your vote actually counted. That's why we are printing this. You voted for all contestants, this voter's choice minus 1, then pick the name. Instead of picking the votes now, we are picking the name. You voted for this so person. So when we are done voting, when we are done with our election and all of that, we want to count the total number of votes. That is what this is doing. So for X in all contestants, X now becomes each of these dictionary here. Because this dictionary stands for all contestants, X becomes each dictionary, all contestants is this list. X now stands for each dictionary in this list. So X first becomes this, then name. That is X name. That is the first dictionary index name as the first dictionary index votes. So let's assume it can be something like this. Taye has 5 votes. Then X becomes the next thing in that dictionary, in that list, which is this dictionary. This becomes James has the number of votes. Then the third one, John has whatever number is here, then votes. Do you understand what you are doing? This is just to show us the final results. Like we are done with our election, we want to display the results. So what you are doing here is for X in all contestants, that is based on the number of items that we have in this list, based on the number of dictionaries that we have in this list, help us to run this loop. So this becomes X name. X name is the first item. You know, X stands for each item in this all contestants. So X will be the first dictionary here, which is the dictionary that contains Peter. Then pick the name, that is Peter, as, let's assume is 0, X votes, that is 0 votes. Do you understand what you are doing? Show you what. If you are lost, say I'm lost. If you are getting it, say I'm getting it. We've come to the end of the class. So don't worry. Well done. Ekusha.
It's quite clumsy, but it's only.
Please go over it again. If you have any question, just let me know. So let's run this and see the results. Let me clear up this. So let's say we have 4 contestants now. Enter contestant name. So let's say Taye, Kenny, Idowu, Alaba. Good. Enter the total number of voters. How many voters should we have? Let's say 10 voters. So who do I want to vote for? Okay, let me vote for my namesake, Taye. Who do I want to vote for? Let me vote for Alaba this time around. Who do I want to vote for? Let me vote for Taye again. Who do I want to vote for? Let me vote for Idowu. Who do I want to vote for? Let me vote for Kemi now. Who do I want to vote for? Let me vote for Alaba. Who do I want to vote for? Let me vote for Taye. Who do I want to vote for? Let me vote for Taye. Who do I vote for Taye again? Then let's say Alaba. We have a little EU. What is going on? Oh, they use this. Just put your STR here. Since this is a number, so sorry, you have to go to the whole process again. Sorry. So let's go. Oh, then I noticed something the other time. Good. Impute. I think I noticed something. Okay. Yeah. You can see. I should just make it neater. Let's enter the number of contestants. Let's go with 4 again. So I'll go with my Taye, Kenny, Idowu, Alaba. So enter the total number of voters. So let's say I have 10 again. 1 for Taye, so I'll vote for Kenny now. Then, yeah, I'll vote for Kenny again. I'll vote for Idowu. I'll vote for Taye. I'll vote for Kenny. I'll vote for Alaba. I'll vote for Taye. Kenny, Alaba. So at the end of the day, Taye has 2 votes, Kenny has 5 votes, Idowu has 1 vote, and Alaba has 2 votes. Whew, interesting. Let's add up everything. Let's see if it's up to 10. 2 plus 5, 7 plus 1, 8 plus 2, 10. Correct. So let's summarize everything. When we get to the app, it's going to say, welcome to our app. Input the number of contestants. That this is empty list and this is empty string. Then we have a loop here. What this loop does is that it's going to run this, whatever is here, based on the number of contestants. So it's going to ask us to enter the contestant's name based on the number of contestants that we have running for the election. Then we have a dictionary, which is this. This dictionary has a key name and the value is whatever you put here. Vote is 0 and the ID is this. So ID will start at 0. Then when you are done creating it, it's going to append it to this dictionary. So if you put it inside this dictionary, then it's going to say added successfully. Then it will concatenate this with it. Then I would have loved to do something, but well, I can't. I would have loved to clean all these codes when I'm done, and I would have loved not to release this video to us, so that based on what you learn in class, you can reproduce this, not necessarily exactly like this, at least to make it work in your own way. But then it's not, some people are not in class. Let's assume everybody is here. That's what I would have done. I would just have seized this video and I'll ask us to go and produce this again, so that make it more interesting and you understand this thing better. But I will challenge you, based on how you understand it, without watching the video. I mean, just maybe you can watch it once, but without copy and paste, without doing that, or mindless lifting. Just try to see if you can reproduce this on your own. When I say reproduce this now, not exactly like this, like if based on what you've picked in the course of the class or while watching the video, if you can make your application work the exact way that it's currently working. So let's continue. It's going to append it then it's going to tell you this added successfully, then you have this out. The next, it will tell you enter the total number of voters, then you have a loop here like this. So in this loop, now remember you've concatenated this here, the ID and the contestant name, you've done all of that here. So inside this loop now, you are just putting this variable, you are putting it here. Like I said, an input takes a string. So since this is already a string, so we can just put it there. And this colon is just for this because of this colon. That is it, because of this colon, just to make it a bit neater. So then this is okay. So all contestants in the voter's choice -1, you are subtracting one from whatever the user picks there. Then vote plus equals to 1. At the end of the day, even our index is basically useless now. We are not using it. We are not using. We can. It means we can even remove the index and our code will still work. But for most of the things you'll be doing, you will need index. Like it makes, even if you have identical items, I mean maybe the same string, index makes your work much easier. But for now, we can even remove index from our code. This ID identifier, this ID, sorry, I mean identifier from our code, and it will still work fine. So you may choose to leave it or not. I thought I would need it, but at the end of the day, I realized I don't need it. So this index is enough to do all of that for us. Then votes plus equals to 1, then you voted for this, and this is for the results to tell us throughout the result. Oh, we've come to the end of the class. Any question? Any question? So this is what I would like to do. Today is Wednesday. Our next class should be next week, but I'm thinking if I can meet with us one more time this week at a convenience time, maybe it's our usual Saturday. Then on that day, we are not doing much. I will just revisit all of this again. I will teach us from the scratch again. I mean, this solution, I will teach us again from the scratch. We will take it again. By that time, you are going to understand this more because you would have watched this video. You will ask, of course, I expect you to have questions. Maybe after watching the video, maybe you have questions to ask. You would have reserved all your questions. So that during that class now, you can come to the class and ask your questions. Then it's going to aid your understanding of this thing. So maybe we should meet one more time this week. We are not doing much. What we are just coming to class to do is just to revisit this thing again. After you must have watched it and maybe understand some part, and if there's any part that you don't understand, then you bring it to class and all of that. Then I will now give you another assignment. By God's grace, next week we are not doing anything next week. All we are doing next week is just work, task like this. So we are coming to class on Monday and Wednesday. I won't be teaching us. No, I won't be. This thing shows that we have a lot of things to still do. I mean, not new things to learn now, but utilizing what we've learned so far. So in our next class, on Monday and Wednesday, we come to class. We will organize together. I'll give us tasks to do. It's going to be class work. I mean, I won't teach us anything. You'll be in class and you'll be working. Please come with your system. Our next class on Wednesday. On Monday, next week now. Please come with your system. And I'll give us tasks to do in the course of the class. If you do it, I'll be looking at us. You'll be sharing your screen with me and all of that. So on Saturday, this Saturday, please let's come around so that we can revisit this thing and make everybody understand very well. Any question before we go? Or comments? Do we have any comments? Okay, thank you very much. In absence of comments, have a lovely night rest.